here we go.
So here, you have a better connection with the keyboard. They'll see your face better.
Okay, so you can get started now.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And thank you to Kristen Floberg for coordinating this meeting. It's very much appreciated. Today, I will be going over how to make the WestCOG Hazard Mitigation Plan work for you. It is a very large document with many sections, and I'm going to talk about how to make this plan useful and efficient for you and for your municipality. So first, I'm going to navigate to the WestCOG homepage. Here we are, westcog.org. And then I will go over to the emergency management section and hit hazard mitigation plans. So the HMP is a traditional plan that provides a walkthrough for us as WestCOG staff and for you as municipalities to execute and implement the strategies that are laid out in the plan. So this is the main page for the plan. This is the main document, the regional document right here. These are the municipal annexes, and these are extra appendices. First, I'm going to go to the main section. So there is a common pattern used throughout the main regional document that we're in right now, as well as the individual municipal annexes. And I'll go through them quickly now and in more detail later. So as we're going through this main plan, we're all on the same understanding. So there is the table of contents if you scroll through here, but it's most easy to navigate, I feel, through this button on the side. So the introduction goes over the main goals of the HMP and available funding sources. The regional profile gives a geographic background of the region so that when we go to section 3, we know the reasoning behind the hazards. Section 4 explains how we protect ourselves as a region through our existing capabilities. And in contrast, section 5 shows new strategies that can be used to mitigate the identified hazards. And finally, section 6 will show how the plan should be implemented. First, I want to take you back to page 4. This will be useful for the municipalities. These are the known as the local coordinators or municipal coordinators. These are the main points of contact for each municipality. Sometimes it's a first selectman, sometimes it's DPW, and really differs per municipality. But if you or someone in your municipality is looking to, really anything, any of the resources in this document, or maybe starting a project, these are kind of the points of contact you would want to touch base with first. So now I'm going to highlight the most relevant information to you as municipal staff throughout the regional section, each section of this plan, this main regional document. Think of this whole document as the main body of the HMP that covers information on the region as a whole. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to remember that each municipality also has their own separate town-specific section, and that is called an annex. And I will show you some examples of annexes at the end, but just remember this is the regional document we're in right now. So section 1 goes over the background and purpose of the HMP. Throughout this document, there are handout pages that can be utilized as background information or pulled out of the plan for the public. They are very, oh, here we are. This is a good example. So they're very visually appealing, kind of brief tidbits of information. And these can be used as flyers or posters, but there's a lot of different information utilized throughout here. I'm going to show you something on page 18. So this is something important to remember. This is the overall vision. WestCOG's goal for this HMP is to reduce loss of life, damage to property and infrastructure, costs to residents and businesses, and municipal service costs due to the effect of natural hazards and disasters. Education of residents and policymakers and the connection of hazard mitigation planning to other community planning efforts are key to achieving this goal, as is the enhancement and preservation of natural resource systems in each member municipality, community. So just keep this in mind as we move forward. Next, section 2, this is the regional profile. This goes over the geography of the hazards in the region as a whole. So in this regional profile, there are maps that explain the environmental characteristics of the region, such as soil, geography, etc., as well as some of the demographic characteristics of the region that I'm sure many of you are well aware of. So right here, we are looking, what kind of map is this? Oh, I think just location of WestCOG in Connecticut. But so here, this is a really cool bedrock map. Surficial geology. So this, is for your use, and it goes into more detail as well. So next, I'll move on to section 3. This goes over risk assessment and past hazardous events. There are a lot of great graphics and tables throughout this plan, but I want to call your attention to table 350. Which may be a long way to scroll.
Yeah.
Okay, 350. Qualitative summary of hazard risks. So each municipality is listed here. I'll zoom in a little too, maybe that'll help. Each kind of hazard, you see riverine flooding, coastal flooding, etc., is listed in high, moderate, or low risk. Risk is defined as a product of frequency and vulnerability, and sometimes the equation includes consequences. So each municipality is, we'll take Greenwich for example, has a ranking of whether the hazard is medium, high, or low. And there are also stats on the frequency of occurrence and magnitude of severity. So again, this is just helpful information that you as a town can use.
And Nicole, if you want to show them, go back to that table you were just on. There we go, the bottom. We have the WestCOG's summary at the bottom. So you can take a look and see, as a region across all the towns, is a given hazard considered moderate, high, or low? So I just want to notice the bold line, the last line of section of that table.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. That's a really good point. If you're ever curious about how these are affecting the region as a whole, it's listed right here. Okay, so moving on to section 4, existing capabilities. This goes over the existing capabilities for mitigation of hazards in the region. Each hazard is broken down by the effort to mitigate them. So you see, once we get to winter storms, tornadoes, so there's the hazard, and then there are examples of our current mitigation strategies. So different warning systems, flood advisory, National Weather Service. This is what the region is currently doing and has access to deal with these kinds of hazards, as you can see listed. And it's important to note that the municipal annex also has a breakdown of each hazard as well to see how it affects your municipality individually. So.
Very good. So yes, so this document, they'll get kind of a regional taste, but in those annexes, they'll get that local touch.
Exactly. Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
How did the high, medium, low values get assigned for each town?
That is a great question. Let me go back to that.
Sure. My understanding from doing this in the previous HMPs, it's a survey often with the coordinator with the community. So they'll note how they rank each hazard, but then they also provide context and say, for our community, this occurs frequently, or this is an issue for us. So there's also some of that context from whoever did the survey. So they check questions, but they also are providing their own context. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you. All right, so back to section 5.
Oh, this is the juicy part.
Yes. So this goes over mitigation strategies for the region. And I want to direct your attention to table 5-2. It should be coming up any moment. Okay, so here we are, 5-2. WestCOG mitigation strategies for 2021 through 2026, and this is the plan period that we're in right now currently. And again, we have our goal for the HMP that we talked about earlier. So these are more general goals and actions for WestCOG as a whole, because they talk about the region as a whole and the work program for WestCOG in our mitigation efforts. So this is more region specific and WestCOG specific. Now, table 5-3, common themes and number of related municipal strategies and actions for WestCOG as a region. You can note that the second column summarizes the number of WestCOG municipalities, at least one action under the theme listed in that row. The numbers in each municipality's column indicates the number of actions that fall within each theme that the given community is implementing. Cells are highlighted for convenience, with blue cells indicating that 5 or more related strategies and actions proposed by that municipality.
Hotspots.
Exactly. So this table is a matrix. I'll zoom out a little. It is a matrix that summarizes all communities' individual projects and categorizes them so you can see commonalities between projects and between towns. This could be important if you are trying to coordinate a regional project. So, you may know what other people in the region are prioritizing or how your neighbors are prioritizing certain hazards. Table 5-4, summary of common municipal strategies and actions, reviews specific strategies or actions that are shared or overlap between towns. So you can see the common strategy or action is much more specific to what is actually being done to deal with said hazard. So you can see the hazard or the action regarding the hazard is shared by the municipalities, and below is what could be done about it. So right now, I'll hand it over to Mike.
Yeah,
Who would, maybe you can elaborate on the benefits of municipal coordination for IIJA and FEMA funding?
exactly. I was itching. I think these are really great tables, and especially for us WestCOG to work with you, the municipalities, on grant opportunities that come up. So currently, if you go up to the first table, the themes table, this one is really pertinent for the IIJA grant that we expect to be dropping soon with all that transportation infrastructure project funds. And we are realizing that some of these projects, these themes, are infrastructure. So if you want to highlight one, so we can find stormwater and drainage projects, right? We have 12 communities that listed that as an action in the HMP. That means we could put together a potential grant opportunity to say we want to address stormwater projects and go after some of that infrastructure money for that IIJA opportunity. So we're going to use the HMP. You'll probably be receiving emails from WestCOG saying, hey, you've been identified in the HMP. It's a good fit for the IIJA. Do you want to move forward with this? And so we'll be working with you in that way. But it's not only IIJA. There are other grant opportunities that might be useful too. BRIC under FEMA, it's an infrastructure FEMA project. Those will be common factors, and these grants are more competitive when we work together regionally. So if you want to know if your neighbors have similar projects, this table 5-3 will show you who has similar theme projects as you.
Thank you. That's very helpful. So before I hand this over to Nick for him to review the map, I'm going to go through the Bethel Annex as an example. So I'll show you where all the individual annexes live.
This link might not work. I did just update the website. You might have to refresh that page. you're on.
Okay.
Oh, it did
Oh,
load.
okay. Okay, so we'll use Bethel as an example.
There it is.
Okay, and we'll use our handy table of contents. So each community in essence has their own specific HMP known as the annexes. So it follows the same sections as the regional document, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's the same headings as described above in the regional document as well. So we'll scroll through this, the table of contents, appendices and such. And it's broken down into introduction, etc. What I want to show you first is section 4. So this is important to remember. Section 4 for each annex, specifically 4-2, status of mitigation strategies and actions from previous HMP. The table below lists the mitigation actions developed in the previous HMP and the status of each. Actions to be carried forward are noted as such. Actions that have been institutionalized as capabilities are not carried forward. So the past actions are listed first, which could be confusing, but I'll walk you through this. So here's a description of what was identified in Bethel's previous HMP. It's been completed, and here are notes regarding the action. So you can look in any municipality, you can look to see what's been done and what needed to be carried forward into this new plan.
I like to point out, this was an oversight on our part. If we were to do this again, we would have the strategies that matter, the strategies you want to use, the strategies you can use at the front of the chapter. I had to realize that this was not talking about active strategies, but where we stood with our past strategies, the last HMP. But so we wanted to share that and point that out so you don't make the
important to
same
know.
mistake.
These are the past ones. So section 4.4, mitigation strategies and actions implementation table. These are where the new mitigation actions for the upcoming 5 years are. And they're listed below as such, different format you can see. So we'll use action 8 for Bethel as an example. This will tie into Nick's demonstration in a moment. Coordinate with Eversource on identifying the best approach to improve resiliency of the power lines along Wolf Pits Road. So you can see that some of the actions have a specific location associated with it. There is the lead for the project listed, so Board of Selectmen or Public Works, the cost, where the funding may come from, the time frame, and the priority. So before I hand this to Nick for his demonstration, we can go over prioritization through the Stapley matrix. You might be wondering, and it was brought up before, how are these prioritized? Why is this one number 8 and this one number 7 and so on? So Stapley, STAPLEE, it's an acronym, is a grading rubric to prioritize projects. And I will tell you what the acronym stands for. S is for social, T is for technical, A is for administrative, P is for political, L is for legal, E is for economic, and another E is for environmental. So it summarizes and prioritizes the recommended actions. This table that we're looking at right here summarizes and prioritizes the recommended actions for the coming 5 years. And the way that they were prioritized was through Stapley.
Yeah, so in that Stapley system, they provide you a score. And that was really, there's also a bit of context there. They work with the coordinator on the plan and they'd say, what do you think the legal issues would be in this? Oh, it'd be a lot. So then they get a negative score for having a lot of potential legal issues, or there's a lot of public support. So it gets positive points for having a lot of public support. And they go through each of the categories and apply a score for that. So that
Exactly. So I'll show you in each municipal annex, there is an appendices that's attached with the Stapley grading rubric. So it might help you to visualize this. I'm going, oh, here we are.
that's good.
Appendix A. So for example, in Bethel, wait for this to,
They just have some blank pages, that's all.
oh, okay. So for action 8, where we were talking about,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, I'm scrolling around. It's different numbering than the actions we were talking about, but you can see here that this is where the acronym is, the benefits and the ranking and the associated costs. So if you're interested in how things were ranked, this table really breaks it down for you. And this is how the actions were ranked for like 1, 2, 3, and etc. So now I want to pass this over to Nick, who will go through the town specific projects and the map that he made. These are related to table 5-4 that we talked about in the regional section of the plan. And these projects may be eligible under IIJA as well as other identified funding sources. So here you go, Nick.
Thank you, Nicole. So, like Nicole said, to accompany the table that we were looking at, 5-4, we can navigate back to the WestCOG homepage here. Scroll down to analytics.
The map viewer's here.
Oh, it's up here.
It's always on, it's on every page.
Nice, it's on every page, the map viewer. So as some of you might know, some of you might be unfamiliar with this, but this is our WestCOG regional map viewer. First and foremost, it started as a parcel viewer. That's how some of you might be familiar with it. And that's the first page that you'll be directed to, is the parcel viewer. So instead of getting into that, we'll click on this drop-down menu and click on our second map here, which is titled Mitigation Strategies and Actions. As you probably know, these are the same exact strategies and actions that Nicole just presented to us, just in a geographic format. So we will use the same example that she used. If we were looking at Bethel and we wanted to look at where action 8 was, we can scroll to it on the map since I knew where it was, or you can do a quick search for action Bethel -8. It'll come right up, it'll zoom to it. And as we can see here, action 8, coordinate with Eversource on Wolf Pit Road, same information. And this is just so you get an understanding about where it is. To beef that up a little bit, we have some themes that you can add to it. So we were worried about probably storms for the resiliency of the power lines. I don't know if I have any storm information in here, but we can put on some of these extra layers that we have. So we can look at some of the areas flooded by 4 feet of sea level rise. You know, this doesn't exactly apply to this, but these layers are here to accompany the projects that are mapped. So we have sea level rise, put on some water bodies. Some of the projects are related to dams in the region. We have the dam layer on here, and these are classified themselves. So these are just to help you when visualizing your projects, excuse me. The common strategies and actions that you see that Nicole went over in table 5-3, those usually do not have a geographical component to them. So they'll be located on town halls, just all in one area. So you'll see all the Bethel actions that do not necessarily have a geographic component, but obviously still we wanted to map them and add them here in one resource for you guys. So develop an automated IT system and back up to the cloud. Doesn't have a location, but it's here anyway, so you can see. And here are the rest of the 13 that are located on Bethel Town Hall, always in the list. You saw me search before for Bethel section 8. You can do a search for your town. You can so we type in get rid of that. If you know your action, you can search by that, or you can search by your town name. So we'll just search for Danbury here. And we'll see all of Danbury's actions too, which we can scroll through, view where they are, and all the information about them as well. So, oh, look, their parcels are there. Yeah, so that is the map viewer to accompany the strategies and actions from the HMP.
Thank you, Nick. All right, so this is a great product to help visualize. So finally, I will go back to the main regional document so we can go over section 6, which is plan implementation. think I have to go back to the main page.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
I got another demonstration, how to find.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now, section 6. So this is important because it explains what FEMA hopes or expects from WestCOG as a region, as well as from the towns individually. So this is a good reference document to see some of the reporting and maintenance requirements. So I will take you to section 6.5, summary of local coordinator responsibilities. So again, moving forward, this is just good to keep in mind. So let's say there was an action, let's say the action in Bethel on Wolf Pits Road. Whoever the local coordinator is would hopefully perform regular reconnaissance level reviews of potential project areas, maybe make a note if something's changed, something's been upgraded, so on and so forth. WestCOG will be holding an annual meeting for the towns just to review what's been done and any issues and any other grant opportunities. And of course, we would reach out again to coordinate the next 5-year HMP update. This kind of work is easier outlined with a worksheet. So luckily FEMA has provided this for us in Appendix G, which I'm going to have to go to in the appendices.
Big file.
Okay. Keeping the plan current.
For those who plan on printing the document, I'd hesitate about printing the appendices. It's very big, 560 pages.
Okay, so here is the FEMA provided worksheet for the towns. So you would provide the project title, contact name, some follow-up questions. Were there any obstacles? Is it complete? And then just for your information, this is something that WestCOG would work on for the upcoming plan, the new planning period. So really everything you need for HMP is found somewhere here, whether it's the appendices, the annex, or the main document. Thank you very much for listening and watching as we go through this. And are there any questions?
All right.
Are there any questions for Nick or Nicole or Mike that they can answer about the hazard mitigation plan?
When is this going to be sent out to the municipalities?
Oh, it's already available.
Yeah, it's available.
It's
I can provide the link in the chat if you would like.
That would be good.
Certainly. Yeah, and all you have to do truly is navigate to the WestCOG website, and we have an emergency management page that you can always find these documents. And there'll be a table that lists out all the municipalities. You can click that for your specific municipal annex that will have that local information. And then Nicole just sent the link.
Yeah, and always feel free to reach out if you would like any assistance trying to navigate through the website. I'd be happy to help. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Charlie. I just wanted to ask the connection to the 100-year floodplain. When that little description was shown of the GIS system that shows the flooding, is that the same as 100-year floods that FEMA puts out?
That's right. Those are FEMA 100-year flood plans.
Yeah, the exact example that I showed was the sea level rise, 4-foot sea level rise, but you're on the right track, Charlie. That's up there too.
Okay.
The flood.
That's great. That's a great service.
Yeah. And I'm aware those flood maps are probably soon to be updated. But they told me they were going to update them 5 years ago. So we used what we had available. Also, if you have any, if you feel like your municipality could use some of the data you find useful in the plan, you can contact Nick. If you can't find it on our website, we could make that available or find ways that you could use it or leverage it for any plans that you're doing.
Yeah, you can download it separately on the GIS page if you want the separate GIS files for it to be able to put it into your own GIS system. That's a really helpful resource too. But those who can't open ArcGIS, that's a very expensive program to just have on every computer. You can view all of that in the map viewer that Nick showed, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last questions? Okay, I'm going to